Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How is everybody doing today? I'm doing really good. Today, I just cut my hair. It's looking kind of weird. I ain't gonna lie. I think I missed a spot. Might have to get that. I've just seen it. Like, I didn't use the mirror. I was like, I think I need to get that later. Bro, I'm about to do a video on religious tolerance. All right. Christianity versus Judaism. Which religion is more tolerant of other religions and other spiritual practices? Okay. The reason I'm making this video because I seen a Christian today on X make a very disturbing post. All right, a Christian went on a rant against all Baal worshipers, and this Christian said he's going to do the same thing to Baal worshipers that Elijah did to Baal worshipers. And you know this? What is it? Where's that at? First Kings 18. It was like 18:4 or something. Where does that start at? I'm. Should I read this? This is so long. I don't feel like reading it. That's a lot of reading. I don't mind reading, but reading out loud. Okay, where should I read it? It's actually a very long story. I am not reading this whole story. I'm just going to give you a summary. You can read it yourself in First Kings. Okay, Elijah, the prophet of Yahweh, versus the prophets of Baal. Okay, essentially, Elijah challenged the prophets of Baal to a contest. He said, "You set up your altar over there. I'll set up my altar over here, an altar of stone. I'll put my sacrifice on it. You put your sacrifice on it. I'll pray to my God, and you pray to your God, and let's see which God actually answers the prayer and consumes the sacrifice on the altar with fire." So obviously, Elijah wins the challenge. It's his book. It's Yahweh's book. It's not Baal's book. So Yahweh wins the battle. Fire comes down from heaven, totally consumes Elijah's sacrifice. Elijah even poured water on his sacrifice, and fire still consumed his sacrifice. Now, you guys think that's a real story. Somebody made that up. Okay, but first of all, people think, oh, Elijah is so righteous and holy because after Elijah prayed to Yahweh, fire came down from heaven and consumed his sacrifice. But Baal never answered the priest of Baal's prayer. Baal did not consume the priest of Baal's sacrifice with fire. But Yahweh consumed Elijah's sacrifice with fire. And then Elijah proceeds to murder all the priests of Baal. Let me see if I get it. I did a pretty bad explanation, but it was good enough. Where is it at? Where it talks about how Elijah murdered all the priests of Baal. Well, he didn't murder them; he killed them. Look, I'll get it right here. Let me read through it. First Kings 18:20. I can read a little bit. 22. Then said Elijah unto the people, I, even I only, remain a prophet of Yahweh, but Baal's prophets are 450 men. Let them therefore give us 2 bullocks, and let them choose 1 bullock for themselves, cut it in pieces, lay it on wood, and put no fire under. And I will dress the other bullock, and lay it on wood, and put no fire under. And call ye on the name of your gods, and I will call upon the name of Yahweh. And the God that answereth by fire, let him be God. And all the people answered and said, It is well spoken. And Elijah said unto the prophets of Baal, Choose you 1 bullock for yourselves, a bull. So you actually think the real God, first of all, why are they sacrificing bulls? If Yahweh is the real God, does he like eat steak? Does he need to eat a hamburger? Does God need food to sustain himself? That's a question you got to ask. Nobody asked that question. That's a question I would want answered. I mean, the obvious answer is no, God does not get hungry. Okay, and Elijah said unto the prophets of Baal, Choose you 1 bullock for yourselves, and dress it first, for ye are many, and call on the name of your gods, but put no fire under. They took the bullock which was given them, and they dressed it, and they called upon the name of Baal from morning even unto noon, saying, O Baal, hear us. But there was no voice, nor any that answered. And they leaped on the altar which was made. And it came to pass at noon that Elijah mocked them and said, Cry aloud, For he is a God. Either he is talking, or he is pursuing, or he is on a journey, or peradventure he sleepeth and must be awakened. Some scholars say that might be talking about Heracles, perhaps. And they cried aloud and cut themselves after their manner with knives and lances till the blood gushed out upon them. And it came to pass, midday was past, when they prophesied until the time of offerings and the evening sacrifice, that there was neither voice, nor any to answer, nor any that regarded. And Elijah said unto all the people, Come near unto me. And all the people came near Elijah, and he repaired the altar of Yahweh that was broken down. And Elijah took 12 stones according to the number of the zodiac, the 12 tribes of Jacob, unto whom the word of Yahweh came, saying, Israel shall be thy name. And with the stones he built an altar in the name of Yahweh, and he made a trench about the altar as great as would contain 2 measures of seed. And he put the wood in order. I didn't want to read all this. And he put the wood in order and cut the bullock in pieces and laid him on the wood and said, Fill 4 barrels with water, pour it on the burnt sacrifice and on the wood. And he said, Do it the second time. They did it the second time. He said, Do it the third time. They did it the third time. And the water ran round about the altar, and he filled the trench also with water. And it came to pass at the time of the offering of the evening sacrifice that Elijah the prophet came near and said, Yahweh, the Elohim of Abraham, Isaac, and of Israel, let it be known this day that thou art a God in Israel, and that I am thy servant, and that I have done these things at thy word. Hear me, O Yahweh, hear me, that this people may know that thou art Yahweh Elohim, and that thou hast turned their heart back again. Then the fire of Yahweh fell and consumed the burnt sacrifice and the wood and the stones and the dust, and licked up the water that was in the trench. And when all the people saw it, they fell on their faces, and they said, Yahweh, he is Elohim. Yahweh, he is God, Elohim. And Elijah said unto them, Take the prophets of Baal, let not one of them escape. And they took them, and Elijah brought them down to the brook of Kishon and slew them there. And Elijah said unto Ahab, Get thee up and eat and drink, for there's whatever. So Elijah killed them all. He killed all those. How many did he kill? He killed, it was over 100 of them. He killed a lot of people. So the point I'm making is Elijah killed all the so-called false prophets of Baal. And people would say, oh, Elijah was a righteous man of God. So is that what Jesus did? When Jesus, he got into debates with the scribes and Pharisees. After he proved them wrong and proved that he was the Son of God, he proceeded to murder them all, right? Because that's the spirit of Jesus, is you kill and murder all your religious adversaries. Anybody of a different faith, in a different tradition, or different belief than you, you just kill them because your God is right and theirs is wrong. So you kill them, you're justified, right? No. So this is the good versus evil test. This is the morality test. Okay, a story like this is a good way to test your sense of morality. Because I'm a guy, I think about morality. What is right? What is wrong? What is good? What is evil? All right, you should not need a book like the Bible. You shouldn't need that to tell you the difference between right and wrong. Now, the Bible is great. It's fantastic. I love the Bible. I read it all day. I can read Greek. I read Hebrew. Big deal. Okay, I know it really well, and I read it all the time. But you should not need the Bible to tell you the difference between right and wrong. Now, murdering people, well, you can say killing, he put them to death. You got these euphemisms we like to use, put them to death, executed, trial by hanging. It's called murder. All right. So Elijah murdered the priest of Baal. Okay, he murdered them because they had a different religion than him. That's wacky, that's crazy, that's insane. All right, going back to the topic of the video. Religious tolerance. Judaism versus Christianity. Which one is more tolerant? Did Jesus go around murdering his opponents? No. Elijah did, though. That tells you they didn't worship the same God. The God of the New Testament is a God of love and a God of light. Yahweh is not a God of love. All right, he's a God of war and a God of death and a God of destruction. All right, he's a thief, a liar, and a robber. But I got a scripture for you. Like I said, the New Testament teaches to be tolerant. You didn't see Jesus go around putting people to death because they believed in a different God. The Apostle Paul did not go around putting people to death because they believed in a different God. No, there's accounts of him debating with people in the New Testament. He debated with people. He didn't murder them like Elijah and Moses, because Moses and Elijah were murderers. They were actually devil worshippers. Yahweh's a devil. Baal's probably better than Yahweh. Actually, I'm going to let you guys in on a little secret. Baal is Yahweh. It was just a different kind of Yahweh worship. Just a little secret, guys, in case you didn't know. In case you didn't know, a lot of you guys don't know anything at all. Deuteronomy 12:1. These are the statutes and judgments which you shall observe to do in the land which Yahweh, Elohim of thy fathers, giveth thee to possess it in all the days that you live upon the earth. Ye shall utterly destroy all the places wherein the nations ye shall possess serve their gods upon the high mountains, upon the hills, under every green tree. Ye shall overthrow their altars, break their pillars, burn their groves with fire. Ye shall hew down their graven images of their gods, and destroy the names of them out of that place. You shall not do so unto Yahweh your God. Oh, yeah, destroy everybody's stuff except for Yahweh's stuff. So that's the religious tolerance of the Old Testament in Judaism. Judaism teaches you to totally and utterly destroy all their altars, all their temples, all their idols. All right. So let's say if there was a Hindu temple down the street, according to Yahweh, we have to go burn it to the ground. Even a Christian church. The Jews are commanded to even burn a Christian church to the ground because they say Christians that we're engaged in idol worship. So according to the Torah, you got to kill them all and burn all their temples. Burn it. They say the picture of Jesus, that's a graven image. You got to burn it with fire. That's what Yahweh commanded. Okay, that's more proof that Yahweh and Jesus is not the same. They do not rhyme. They're not the same shape. They're not the same form. They don't look alike. They're totally opposite. Jesus did not go around breaking everybody's graven images, burning idols, okay? You Christians all the time, they tell me that Jesus is Yahweh. Somebody told me that today on the comment board. He said, Jesus is Yahweh the Father. Then how come Jesus don't follow Yahweh's commandments? Yahweh says burn their groves, okay? Destroy their images. Jesus wasn't doing that. How come Jesus didn't go, he didn't run the Romans out of town. They worshiped Jupiter. Nope. It wasn't none of that. And actually, the only people Jesus was even cussing out was the Jews, was the people who did worship Yahweh. The only time Jesus caused any destruction in the Bible was when he flipped some tables over. And he did it to Jews at Yahweh's temple. So, nah, bro, you're not supposed to go around destroying people's temples, just, burning churches to the ground. If somebody has a different religion than you, you're not supposed to go up to them and spit on them. You're not supposed to take a Quran and burn it with fire. A lot of Christians do that. They'll get a Quran and burn it with fire. Maybe a Christian will get a Talmud and burn it with fire. That's the practice of Judaism. That's the hatred. That's the spirit of hatred and the spirit of darkness that you'll find in Judaism. You're not supposed to do that, bro. That's disrespectful. If somebody has a different belief, oh, well, like I care. I really don't. I mean, I'm not in favor of letting all these Muslims in the country. That's something totally different. All right, but no, you're not supposed to just murder somebody because they don't see God the same way that you do. No, you're supposed to debate. All right. Good ideas do not need violence to enforce those ideas or to spread those ideas. If you need violence for your ideas to spread and to germinate, then your ideas are no good, bro. All right, that's just facts. Your ideas are trash. If you need violence to enforce your ideas and your ideologies, then your ideology is shit and is worth nothing. It's refuse, it's dookie and diarrhea, bro. Okay, God is love, God is light. If somebody disagrees with me, I'm not going to wish death upon them. Oh, you're the devil. You're retarded. You're dumb. No, bro. I'm not burning Qurans. I'm not burning Talmuds. We don't do that. That's the mind of a like a primitive caveman, bro. That's the mind of an uncivilized savage. Okay, that's what that is, and that's what Judaism is. Judaism is the primitive caveman religion. It says it right there in Deuteronomy 12. I just read it, bro. If anybody worships a different God than you, according to the Old Testament, you got to burn them with fire, burn their temple with fire. If they have idols, smash them to pieces. If they have a sacred holy tree, cut it down, burn it. Okay, take their priests, go hang them. You see, Elijah killed all the priests of Baal. He's a murderer. So Elijah's not a holy man of God, he's a murderer. All right, Moses was a murderer. Moses got murdered by Yahweh. So you got, that's just my whole point of this video is the average person does not know the difference between right and wrong. They're not able to discern because our heads have been so messed up, bro. Simple things like good versus evil, right versus wrong. We cannot perceive it on our own. We have to be instructed in how to be able to do it. And that should not be the case. Okay, I clearly I should be able to just, if you tell me about this Elijah guy, and if you told me, first of all, he's sacrificing a bull. You gonna tell me God told somebody to sacrifice a bull? No, God never asked for the flesh of animals and the blood of animals. Somebody made that up. Jesus never said to sacrifice animals. He was against it. Okay, but if somebody murders their theological opponents, puts them to death, that's not a righteous act. That's called murder. They should go to prison. They should go. He should get put to death for that one. I mean, you should forgive him, but he killed a lot of people, man. Usually, mass murderers, yeah, they. I mean, it's a death sentence. I mean, that's the thing, though. We should try to forgive people, but like serial killers, you might have to put them down. Sometimes you got to put people down. I'm pragmatic. Elijah should have been put down. All right, he could. I mean, how many people did he murder after that? He murdered a lot of people, destroyed a lot of families on that day. That's what Elijah did. Jesus did no such thing. Jesus never murdered anybody. Jesus told soldiers to harm no man. Jesus prayed for the very Jews that crucified him. The Jews, when the Jews had Jesus, well, the Romans physically did it. The Jews had it done. When Jesus was on the cross, he said, Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. Why didn't Elijah say that to the priest of Baal? How come Elijah didn't say to the priest of Baal, Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing? Because Elijah didn't know a thing about Jesus. And he was a caveman with the mind of a caveman. He was a primate, a primitive man. Okay, he wasn't very smart. It's a mythological character. It's a story. It never freaking happened, bro. Do you actually think fire came down from heaven and consumed a bull that was covered in water? No, it didn't happen. They made it up. It's like it's so easy to see. The New Testament is not made up. Old Testament, there's history in there a little bit. Most of it's made up facts. That's something we're going to have to come to the conclusion to, guys. Old Testament is no different than Greek mythology. Jesus is a real historical person. Big major difference. Big giant difference. Okay. But that's my ramblings for now. Ain't nobody even watching this, bro. It's like it matters. But yeah, Judaism versus Christianity. I would say Christianity wins again. In the religious tolerance department, I would say Christianity wins. Christianity is way more tolerant than Judaism. You think Christians would do that to the Palestinians? No, never. We'd be over there trying to feed them, putting them in hospitals. Didn't Christians invent hospitals? This is some nice, loving, caring people, man. That's what it's all about. That's the spirit of Jesus, the spirit of love, kindness, mercy, compassion, helping people out, not being an asshole. Okay. Where the scripture said, Jesus said, go be an asshole.